Meghan kicks things off with her boldest flex, claiming her rosé sold out in exactly 44 minutes. Not under an hour, not about 45 minutes, but precisely 44. That oddly specific number is meant to sound impressive, but instead it raises eyebrows. For a little-known lifestyle brand to sell out at lightning speed, you'd expect chaos. Crashing websites, buyers posting receipts, hashtags trending, and a resale market popping up instantly.
I'm exasperated in some ways by that, only because it is such a tedious proposition to scale your own home recipe to something at mass and maintain the same, not just quality, but the same flavor that you're able to do at home.
Yet none of those markers appeared. Meghan insists it happened organically through word of mouth, but real entrepreneurs know you don't accidentally sell through thousands of luxury units in less than an hour without heavy marketing and serious infrastructure.
You might have exclusivity in certain ones that make sense for the consumables, but as you expand into candles or things throughout the home, where do those live that it makes sense?
The claim doesn't reveal business genius. It reveals the first crack in a pattern, stories polished for interviews, but shaky under scrutiny. Next, Meghan says that after the first sellout, they prepared for a second drop by multiplying inventory tenfold. That's going from a few thousand jars to tens of thousands.
Do you want to see it at Target or Williams-Sonoma or?
I think a key retail partner is going to be very valuable.
And according to her, it all sold out in just a couple of hours. The problem? Scaling by 10 isn't just ordering more, it means warehouses, shipping contracts, customer service teams, and supply chains built for a small army. Even established companies need months to prepare for a leap like that. Yet Meghan presents it as if they casually pulled it off between seasonal drops.
And that's a huge jump in just a few months of starting a business.
And again, the math doesn't line up. Selling tens of thousands of units in hours would flood social media with proof. But the silence is louder than the claim itself.
And at the same time, you don't get the same metrics and learnings about which SKUs and products are the most coveted.
Just when the numbers couldn't get more unrealistic, Meghan says conversations jumped from thousands of jars to a purchase order for 1 million units. 1 million. That's not a flex, that's a fantasy.
They have a lot of incredible suppliers and manufacturers that they are comfortable working with.
Producing 1 million artisanal jars would require multi-million-dollar investment, industrial-scale facilities, global distribution, and retail partnerships locked in advance. These are moves that take Fortune 500 companies years to build, not a startup lifestyle brand in its infancy. If a 1 million-unit order were real, there would be warehouses, supply chain announcements, and trade coverage everywhere.
So most of it in the pre-production was inspired by recipes that I love to make.
Instead, we get another dramatic number tossed out in passing. Then comes the moment that blows her entire independent entrepreneur image apart.
And that's why we have a season 2, and why we have more fun coming.
Meghan frames Netflix as a hands-off backer, saying the company told her, "This is your baby and your brand." She makes it sound like she's calling all the shots, but moments later, she admits Netflix provides the suppliers, the manufacturers, and the infrastructure that makes everything possible.
Standpoint, I know where I came from. I remember being in high school and having my after-school job, and all I wanted to do was save up to buy a shirt that said BB.
That's not independence, that's corporate dependence. And to make things worse, industry reports revealed that their original Netflix deal was recently downgraded to a less exclusive first-look arrangement. Translation?
So I think oftentimes the negative voices, are they saying negative things and then secretly going home and making single skillet spaghetti? Possibly.
Netflix gets first dibs, but the Sussexes can shop projects elsewhere if passed on. That's a far cry from the powerhouse partnership she paints on camera. The contradiction couldn't be clearer. You can't claim full control while relying on your investor's supply chain to keep the lights on.
And a huge crew, which I think people often forget. That was a crew of 80 people.
At one point, Meghan boasts that her lifestyle show required a crew of 80 people. For context, most cooking and lifestyle shows operate with a crew of 20 to 30. Even premium productions rarely push past 40.
And if you could get the one with the rhinestone BB, you really made it. And I always think about that version of me.
80 is the size of a mid-budget Hollywood drama, not a simple jam and flowers lifestyle show. The number doesn't make her look successful, it makes her look like she's inflating scale to sound more impressive than reality.
They very graciously said, no, this is your baby and this is your brand. So all creative decisions and final decisions like that end up with me.
When asked about the future, Meghan confidently declares that the plan is to go global. The problem? She admits they're still figuring out domestic retail basics, like whether their products belong at Target or Williams-Sonoma.
I think I knew who I was trying to meet. And so if you know your audience, you know your demographic, well, they love the show.
You can't conquer international markets when you haven't even decided where your jars belong at home. Global expansion requires years of planning, supply chain investment, and regulatory approvals.
And suddenly the conversation goes from a few thousand jars and lids to we need to do a purchase order of 1 million.
But Meghan talks about it as casually as mailing out a press release. When critics point out her Netflix show's mixed reception, Meghan brushes it off, insisting she knows her demographic and that they love it. She offers no data, no metrics, no feedback, just blind certainty.
It's a great question. A lot of prep.
Instead of analyzing reviews or studying audience response, she suggests that even her critics secretly go home and cook her recipes. That's not market research. That's wishful thinking dressed up as strategy.
And the plan is to go global.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally, Meghan tells a heartfelt story about her teenage self saving up to buy a rhinestone BB shirt, and how this inspired her to price her jam at just $9, something she claims her 15-year-old self could afford. But let's be real, a $9 jar of jam isn't a budget item. It's a specialty product in luxury packaging.
Netflix is my partner and investor.
The idea that it represents accessibility is laughable when paired with a premium lifestyle brand targeting affluent buyers. Her pricing story tries to create relatability, but instead,
That sold out in a couple hours.
it exposes how disconnected her narrative is from actual consumer reality. 8 moments. 8 stories that sound powerful in an interview, but collapse the second you look closer. The 44-minute miracle sellout, the impossible 10-times scale-up, the million-unit fairy tale, the Netflix independence illusion, a crew of 80, global domination without domestic clarity, audience certainty without data, and the laughable idea that $9 jam is accessible. Each claim on its own might pass as exaggeration, but together they reveal a pattern. A business persona built more on glossy storytelling than measurable success. So now the question is yours. Which claim was the most absurd? Was it the miracle sellout, the million-unit fantasy, or the Netflix contradiction? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes, hit subscribe, and stick around, because the next deep dive is loaded with even more revelations about how celebrity empires aren't always what they seem.